Hello, Arshna. I think we cannot hear
Archana,
you.
hello? Archana, can you hear us? Okay, no, please. I will share my screen. Okay. Um, okay, so for the EMS, the very first step is to like set up the machines. So in the standard ARCOPS deployment, we have this the asset manager is under settings, and then we go to the third link here on the top. It's assets. Okay. From here we can we can link the like we can create new assets, map asset types, and then we can also like map different locations uh, to the machine, and then we can also specify the coordinates. So this coordinate is basically, let's say inside EMS, we have a floor plan view. So using this coordinate, we can actually uh, place different machine under different coordinates in certain location. Okay. So these location and XY coordinates from here will be used inside EMS flow view. Okay. So this is basic asset setup. Once we have all the assets, no further configuration required here. We can go to the EMS configurations. Okay. So on the home page, we have this equipment maintenance tab at the very bottom. So there is another tab for EMS configuration. We go there. Okay. So let's go to the configuration first. Okay. So where we have just read-only list for all the locations, what locations we have inside systems. Then we have a read-only list for all the machines, okay, that we are tracking for the EMS. Uh, Next setup is the frequency, okay, the next link. So frequency is basically a time unit that can be used to like create different maintenance pattern, time pattern, uh, that we will use to like schedule different AM PM jobs. So let's say we have a weekly uh, AM or PM job, then obviously we need somehow we need inside system we need a pattern that have a time span of 7 days. Okay. uh, so you can see we already have the pattern. So basically there are 5 to 6 standard uh, frequencies here. It's daily, I think daily shiftly that can be like 8 or 12 hours. Okay. I think shiftly is not here, so let's add one. No, shiftly is not required here. Shiftly will be actually maintenance pattern. So frequencies are basic time units, that is day, minutes, hour, weeks, years, okay, months and years, okay. So once we have all the frequencies here, so this is usually one-time setup. Once we have the all the frequencies done, this screens like will not change frequently. Next is pattern. Okay, so the patterns are how PM or PM jobs will be repeated after certain time span. Okay, so patterns are used for the uh, time-based jobs. So I will create shiftly. Let's say there is a PM or AM task that needs to be done every 8 hour or 12 hour. So I will just mention it like, let's say 12 hours. Okay. So here allowed days for extension is like once we have a PM, we can actually define a limit on like uh, if like by how long or how much time this job can be moved into the future or can be bring forward. So this is the like extension limit for us. Okay. Similarly, we have the tolerance feature. Tolerance is like when this job will be marked as like due or overdue. Okay. So we will just say, okay, we have a shiftly, and then the, let's say, tolerance is also 12 hours, or we can also keep it 6 hours. And then, okay, so because we have to create 12 hours, so we will put hourly here, and then we will just simply add 12. So what this will do is, so we know, okay, this is multiplies the number and the frequency we have selected hourly. So this pattern will repeat every 12 hours. Okay. So next setting we have seen here is default number of schedules and when auto scheduling will be triggered. So by default, when we trigger AM or PM, let's say we want to create a shiftly PM. So we need to define, let's say, once we trigger this scheduling, how many jobs we want to like see inside system initially. Let's say once I want to set up a shiftly PM, I want to trigger, let's say, 15 initially 14 jobs. So that means inside system I will have 1 week of data here. So similarly, let's say if I have monthly, I want to create maybe let's say next 6 months of jobs, right? So I can simply say it, okay, default number of schedule will be 6. Okay. So here, but default number of schedule is how many jobs will be triggered initially, and this is the number when new jobs will be inside system. Let's say, okay, today we have triggered 14 jobs, and we want after 3 days number of jobs will be 8. Okay. So we want to see, okay, when the this pending jobs number will reach to 8, we want to trigger another set of jobs. So this is the system will keep on adding jobs to the PM calendar or AM calendar. Okay. So this is the settings that is required. So next we have few other 4 other settings. These are for specific job types, AM, PM, calibration, and other job type. Okay. So this setting that is enabled in some cases, let's say, especially in case of calibration that I have seen, that when a calibration is done, uh, let's say the usual calibration is like yearly, but so the due date is, let's say, uh, 15th of October, right? But the actual calibration was done on, let's say, 30th of September. So what we want to see is that next calibration should be done on or before 30th September 2023. Okay. So it has to be the 1 year from the date of completion of the previous jobs. Otherwise, if we don't enable this setting, the next job will be triggered for the 15th of October. Okay. So this setting will actually pull in the change the like schedule or trigger date for the next PM task. So these settings we can use for those like uh, to change those dates. Okay, I will keep it unchecked for now. You will click. Okay, with some error here. Let's see. Let's try this. Okay, I think the pattern saved successfully. So we can also have a lot of other type of patterns. Let's see what we have here. Let's say we want to create a pattern for like uh, every 3 days, right? Let's So it can be either hourly hours every 72 hours or maybe every 3 days, right? So now to configure this, we have 3 different options. Either we will change, let's say, not daily. We can choose hourly and specify 72 here. Okay, that is 1 unit. Or we can simply say daily. It shouldn't be daily, it should be days actually. or we can say, okay, days into, these are two configuration we can do. We have to choose one, not both, obviously. We can see, because we have just renamed it, so it's 3 days. So now this will actually repeat uh, every 3 days. So days into. Ashna, we are seeing some random issues with the pattern screens. Can you please make sure that this is tested properly?
Sure, Ajay.
Okay, so once we have the patterns, the next step is to set up profiles. Okay. So profile is basically to link the workflows. Workflow, I think we can discuss. We can also discuss the workflow that is needed to create the profiles and with different machines. So let's go to the workflows first, maybe. Okay, so this one have 3 different steps. So we can assume, okay, let's say the first step is to take down machine for the PM. Second step is to perform the PM checklist, and then third step is to do the BIOS. So this can be step 2 and step 3 can have can have different checklists. So here we can add the like runtime. In any instructions, we can attach files here that is helpful for the to do the PM on the machine. We can add specific personnel or qualification here. We can also link what machines are needed to perform this PM. And I think the another important thing is to select the checklist. So we will simply select one of the checklist.
Ajay, may I ask about checklist?
Sorry?
May I ask about checklist?
Sure, sure.
So when we buy the EMS module, does it include the checklist, or we have to purchase for the checklist manager to have the checklist on the workflow?
I I think actually if you want to use the EMS properly, the basic checklist, basic workflows are needed. At the workstation,
Uh,
obviously, workstation access is needed. Otherwise,
uh,
you can't complete the EMS, because EMS is actually basic collecting data during the PM, and that can only be done through the checklist. What I have seen so far.
mm,
Yeah. So checklist is kind of a must-have for the for for the EMS, and
okay, okay,
we customer might not have to pay for it, but Arcflow is also needed to do some scheduling stuff.
okay, understood.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay. So we have added. So we have EMS job here. We will add another checklist for final step. Okay. Okay, so next we go to the profiles. So we can have two type of profiles. One is the time-based and another one is the usage-based. So time-based is basically when we have like when we want to configure for the time-based like monthly, weekly, daily, AM, PM. The usage-based is when we want to configure the PM based on the usage on machine. Let's say for how long the machine is running or like how much machine has produced actually. Okay, so those data usually we get from the machine through some either acquire or Arcflow, but that is not scope of the EMS. So what, let's say in EMS we get some in one of the maybe DB tables we get this data, and then EMS will simply refer to that data to trigger the new PMs based on the usage. Okay. So let's go for the time based first. Okay. Okay, so we have an option for like profile based, and then we also have the option to create AM, PM calibration and other. So this is, let's say, because some machine will have the PM only, some will have the AM only, some will only do the calibration. So we can create the profiles accordingly. Okay. So let's pick the PM and okay. So once we have the profile, the next option part is to now what we will do here. What will pick the pattern. Let's say for the daily PM. Let's say for the daily PM, I need certain workflow. Okay, so we can just, and for monthly one we also need another workflow PM. And let's say we also have half month. Bi-monthly, let's say every 2 months, right? So here, ideally, this workflow will change because obviously the daily PM might have a simpler workflow. The monthly PM will have a maybe very detailed workflow, but the PM on the every 2 months might be different. So the workflow will change. So for now, we will just keep it to one pattern only. But uh, but this can actually be like configured for multiple patterns in one profile. Okay. And now next option is select. We will select okay. This for which machine we will use this profile. Let's use this one maybe. Just as okay. We have the profile now. So we will discuss the, let's go to the time-based scheduling first, and then we will go back and we will come back and see the usage-based one. Okay. So we will go to the new PM schedule. Okay. Search machine here, select the machine, some basic info about the machine. click on the maintenance tab here. Okay, so you will see different options here: time recursive by profile, time recursive by pattern, usage recursive by profile, or instant ad hoc jobs. Okay. So we have already configured by profile. So if you go to these two patterns, you will see, okay, these actually have the data. So let's say one machine. So now we have, let's say, the maintenance profile is, I think this is the one we created, monthly. So these are the patterns and workflow we mapped with this particular profile. And if we go to the pattern only, we will see the, I think, monthly. You can see we have the workflow here. So we can also trigger it based on the pattern, or we can do it by the profile. Profile is usually useful, let's say, when we want to do for the monthly or half yearly and yearly in like one in one shot. Also, in some cases, when we do the profile-based scheduling, what happens is, let's say, when we are doing half yearly PM, and they're supposed to be a monthly PM on the same machine on the same day. Usually, the engineers will skip the minor PM, because obviously if we are doing the major PM on the same day, minor PM is not required. Okay, so if we trigger by profile, this will happen automatically. The system will skip the minor PM if there is a major PM on the same day on the calendar. So simply the minor PM event will be job will be skipped. So this is the benefit of using the profiles. But otherwise we can, if we want to have the both the jobs, we can trigger by pattern also. Okay. So let's trigger by pattern. We can start it at what time of day we want to perform the PM. 9 a.m. Okay, so triggering is done. Let's search this machine. We can go to the PM schedule list. There are a lot of jobs in this machine. Okay, we have the machine here. Okay, this one have no jobs. Let's trigger on this one. New PM schedule. Now we can go to PM schedule list, search for the machine. Ashna, do you have any idea why it's not being triggered?
Sorry, Ajay, no idea.
Okay. Okay. So I think we can skip that part. But ultimately, what will happen once we schedule the job from once we trigger the job from new PM schedule, it will eventually you can see those jobs on the PM schedule list. Okay.
Okay, okay.
And
I think Ajay, this version of Sandbox EMS is not updated here. I think this issue was earlier. This issue was
no, I
there
think
earlier.
this should be the latest one. Okay, but let's pick another machine maybe. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we can see we already have some jobs here on this one. Test asset, this one. Okay, so we will see. So once we do the jobs will be listed here, and we can see the due and overdue dates. So simply it will from the from pending to due to overdue, and then if once we complete the job, it will change to completed. So you can see under status column, you can see the different status with different color codes. Okay. On this particular list, we have option to delete particular job, okay, or we can also do the extension, okay. So if we want to delete one of the jobs, we have two options. Sorry, we have this not two options. We have this following option. What we for this we have the selected machine and a job here. You can see the job number and machine on the first input on top. So we have options delete this record only. That means this particular task will be deleted. Then we can also delete all for this pattern. Okay. Or if this jobs were triggered using a profile, delete all for this profile. We can also do that. And another the fourth option is delete all for this asset. Okay. This means every job on this asset will be removed. Okay. And fifth option is actually mark record as inactive. Inactive is actually, let's say if we want to perform the PM, but we want to still keep it inside system. So simply the job will be marked as inactive. That means either at that particular time there was a shutdown on machine, it was not in being used, but so they will simply mark, the user can simply mark the job as inactive, but this job will still like stay inside system. Okay, and then uh, actually, if a job is already running or it's completed, we cannot actually delete those directly. But I mean, system will throw a message. But if we'll click this option, this one, then it will simply delete even the completed jobs. Okay. So this is one option. There is no approval or anything required. Once we click here, the job will get deleted. Okay. The second option we have here is the like rescheduling. Rescheduling means we want to change it to some other day. Okay. Let's say this job is actually scheduled for 26th of August actually. So let's change it to October 6th. 7:30. Okay. So you can see once we apply once we send it for extension, the job status will change to locked. You can see the status is locked here in this list, this particular list. Now these extensions are require approval. So if we go to the approvals page, I think this requires some roles, a certain role to be assigned to a user. Only then they can do these approvals. Okay. So once, let me see if I can assign that role. I think missing some setting. But usually it will go for approval, and then once approved by the user, it will change to a new date. Okay, so that's actually the process there. Configuration. Okay. So this is the PM schedule list that we just discussed. Next is we have we have one more option to process trigger bulk, like jobs in a bulk on any machine. So like this is a bulk PM scheduler. Let's say I want to do by pattern. I need to select the patterns here. Okay, so I think these three machines already have this workflow linked to these. So I will simply, so this is like in one shot, I can schedule for 3 different machines. So this is this is the motivation for this. So that's why it's called bulk scheduling. So we have, let's see. So what will happen? This will actually queue the request on the backend, and on the PM schedule list, we will possibly see some jobs on this machine. But it usually takes some time to appear those jobs here because that will be processed in queue. Okay, so this is the bulk PM, like bulk scheduling for the PM jobs. Okay. Let's pick one of the jobs and go to the workstation. Okay, so go to the workstation. We will just click on the equipment maintenance here, the blue button on the bottom. We search by machine. Okay, so we have, so from here we can see this is the one job that is running already. We have no job here, sorry, on this machine. Let's see, these are the jobs that we haven't started yet, and this will give all the completed jobs. So completed jobs, it will give on the total. So similarly, we can see for the week, day, and month also. So these are the all not started jobs on this machine for the month of September. Okay. So from here, we can actually start a job. Let's do this one. You can see we have the 3 steps here. Let's start the first one. We can ignore this input and output section because EMS jobs will not have that section. But since we are using the same workflow, so that's why we are seeing these options here. But with EMS jobs, usually there will be instructions plus checklist and the personnel that who perform the PM.
Yeah, since it is connected to the workstation, so meaning we can also monitor the usage of the resource within the uh, maintenance activities, right?
Yeah. So actually, in when we do the maintenance, there will be no output actually, right? So there will be input. So any input we
Correct,
will
correct.
do here will be assumed as okay that this particular task consumed these like these items from the inventory. So those items will be actually spare parts.
Yes, correct, correct. Okay,
Okay,
understood. Thank
okay,
you.
yeah, yeah. So, but I think there will be no output section. There will be no output configured for this. Please, input can be configured. Let's say for the first step, you need some. Let's say a change of filter is required. You see, okay, this one filter is required. So user can actually scan and then from the inventory scan that particular part and link to this particular task. So they will know, okay, that this particular PM actually used this particular filter from the inventory with this particular serial number. So that can be tracked. Okay.
Okay, understood,
Yeah.
understood.
Okay, I think there are some checklists here. Okay. Checklist. Okay, so this is, I think this is the normal standard process with the workstation. User complete the checklist, complete the step, go to the next step, then complete the checklist required or any other option input, then complete the jobs. Once a job is completed, they can actually generate a report or something. That is the standard workstation functionality. So we will not go into too much detail there. We will go back to the EMS configuration because we have some. So in the configuration in the profiles we have so the time based is we create time based profile, we link machine to different workflows and patterns, and then we trigger the jobs. The next option is to create a time based one. So we will use the usage one now. We will keep the maintenance type to PM.
So yeah, is the name shouldn't be the usage base?
Oh, sorry. I will.
Okay.
So profile type is you can see usage based, maintenance type is PM. These fields are read only, right? And then okay. So now there is like little interesting part, the cycle limit and usage rates. Okay, we have these two columns here. So cycle limit is basically now we since this is like uh, preventive maintenance. So the preventive maintenance means okay, they know that okay, every like on a car, we will assume that let's we are configuring it for a car or maybe a genset that where for a car the usage will be in kilometers. For a let's say generator set, it will be in hours. Okay, so we know let's say if we have a generator, it has to be serviced every let's say 50 hours or maybe 100 hours assume. And from the usage data usually they know okay my so what my like my cycle is like okay I have to repair it every 100 hour. Okay, and then from the now they can this usage rate is actually a rough estimate on like how long this generator will they use on a daily basis. So though it's very hard, but still they will have some estimation looking at the historical records. So let's say on average it comes out to two using the like they use it for like 2 hours every day for due to electricity shutdown. Okay. So now so the next is okay. So next part is you can see the next tab is cycles and the workflows. So cycle is actually now we can actually configure now 100 hours will make one cycle. Okay, and we can have multiple cycles there. So we will select okay. Let's say once the generator will generator will complete one cycle, we have to use this workflow to do the PM. Okay. So what happens, let's say usually alternate, like at the first 100 hour, it's we have to use the same workflow. That means same process. Maybe second for the same workflow. Second will also use same workflow, but on the third we have to use different workflow. Different workflow means different type of parts might be needed. Let's say in the first workflow they will just change the maybe engine oil, because there is actually engine running. But in the third cycle, that is when the generator will complete 300 hours, they might have to do some additional part replacement. Okay, and that part replacement might be, then they have to obviously define a different workflow that might have a maybe little different checklist, and plus different inventory, like mapped to the different steps of the PM workflow. Okay, so this is how, like, for the first 100 hours, this will be the my workflow. For the second cycle, that means at the 200 hours, this will be my workflow, and for the at the 300 hours, this will be my workflow. So once I complete the, like, 300, once the third PM is done, it will repeat the same cycle. I mean, it will go back to 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3. So this will go on for the, like, system will keep scheduling tasks based on this configuration, right? And let's say we have this, we can add machine here. We just use a torque machine, but the configuration we did is one that is running maybe every hour. So if, let's say, if we have a use case of car, that, let's say, if car might run 10,000 cycle, limit is 10,000, that is usually the limit. And let's say we will say, okay, the car will usually runs maybe 2,000 kilometers in a month. So maybe that's average to 6 or 70 kilometer per day. Okay, so then there will be obviously different workflow, different type of cycles will be there. What I have seen, let's say, from my experience with cars, that, okay, they have a alternate major PM. Let's say after every 6 months or after completing 10,000 kilometers, they will do a minor PM. That is a simpler workflow. That is actually cheaper. But after completing 20,000, then they have to do a major PM that have some additional require some additional part replacement, and usually costlier than the first one. So this happens in cycle loops. Like, after doing a major, next will be minor, then major, then minor, then major. So that can also be configured here. Okay. Let's keep it to 50 and maybe 2. Yeah.
Jay, may I ask about the cycle here?
Sorry.
May I ask about the cycle?
Yeah, cycle is usually the usage when we need to perform the PM. So let's say that's what I'm saying. In case of generator set, it can be 50 hours, 100 hours, right? And maybe in case of car, it can be 10,000 kilometers. So we don't have a unit there. We just have the number, because it will be, obviously, it will be a numerical number. Let's say if we have a machine, so producing some part, let's say it's a cutting machine or packaging machine, right? Packaging machine. Let's assume it's a packaging machine. And there might be some, let's say they have to replace the glue after, once they finish packing maybe 1 lakh packages, let's assume. Okay, they have to change the glue into that machine. So what will happen? So obviously there will be some sensor that might be reading how many packages they have processed, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So the data is not related to the usage base that we enter on the right hand side.
No, we will say, okay,
Okay.
let me open up that one, and we will just change it for this machine. Okay, let's say we have now 10,000. Let's say once the machine processes 10,000, okay, 10,000 packs, they have to change the glue, right?
Okay.
Okay. So they based on this, now one machine can actually produce different type of usage data, right? Let's say this is the one type where this particular trigger is needed, right? That once 10,000 packs are processed, they need to change the glue, but they can't just go inside and change the glue. There might be some, like, they have to actually turn off the machine, okay, take it out and then put it back, and then maybe do one or two sample boxes, right? And only then they can release it to production, back to production. So that is actually a maintenance flow. So they will obviously create a workflow that will uh, like uh, that will list down all the activities they need to perform, checklist, part required, and everything. Okay, and then they will say, okay, once the 10,000 limit is reached, there should be a PM inside system. Okay, and let's say they do, let's say, 1,000 packs every day. Okay, so what will happen? From this, we can see, okay, after every 10 days, they need to change the glue. Because 10,000 is my cycle limit, right? My usage rate is 1,000 per day. So this is still on some day they might they might do 1,200. On some day they might do 600 due to maybe shutdown or something. But what our system will do once system collects the usage data, let's say if this machine is not running for 3-4 days, okay, system will not receive any usage data, obviously. But then what will happen? Once then obviously system will keep on getting the same reading. Let's say if it's on 4,000, on after 5th day it's 4,000, 6th day 4,000, 7th day 4,000, while it should have received maybe 8,000 or 7 something. So system will actually change the job date. It will move the job date to maybe after 3-4 days, because now system will detect, okay, because since usage rate is 1 day and I am still at, on the 8th day I'm still at 4,000, I can't do 6,000 in 2 days, obviously. So that means I have to move my PM to 4-5 days, because I will still have the machine can still process another 6,000 boxes.
So am I correct?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
So am
please
I
go
correct to
ahead.
say if we can read the data from the machine, then we don't use the usage rate, but then if we cannot read the data from the machine, then we use the usage rate?
No, we still need to give some approximation. I don't think there will still be some estimation on how much a machine can process on each day or each hour basis, right?
Okay.
So this is because, let's say if I will trigger something, I will not have the usage data. System still needs at least some approximation on when I have to create the initial task. Let's say if I trigger today, my initial count is 4,000. I know, okay, I have so I want to see a task inside my system after 6 days, right? Because I am already on the 4,000. I know next 6,000 will take 6 more days. So I want to see, okay, after 6 days, I need to do the glue change workflow. Okay. Is that
Okay.
is that make sense now?
Yeah, it makes sense now. Thanks, Ajay.
Yeah. So this is just to like do some approximation on when a task should be scheduled, when need to move it away or pull it forward. Because let's say if we uh, maybe due to some production requirement, we have to process 2,000 boxes every day. Okay, so then obviously they have to change the glue every 5 days. So what will happen? On the first day we will receive 2,000, right? On second day we will receive another 2,000. Third day we might receive another 2,000. So that means we have on the third day we are already halfway. So that means our PM that was supposed to be happen after 10 days, it has to be moved to like closer date. So this based on this data and those approximations, we will do that shifting of the when that PM needs to be done. Okay, so once we have the let's go to the PM new PM schedule, find the top. So So we have usage-based clock machine. Yeah. So these are the workflows. So you see, this is the start cycle, because what will happen when we are configure things, there might be any like we might be from the, let's say, 1 2 3 cycle, we might already be at 3. Let's say the next PM that should be done is that we need to do is actually this one. This workflow need to be performed next, right? Or we can add 2 also, or we can add the 1 also. So we can choose, okay, because third, we assumed, okay, third one is the major one. So we know that next one is major one. So we will just set, okay, that our start cycle is 3. Okay. And then we'll say, okay, my count is 6,500 already. Okay. So this means ideally that take 10 days. So there should be a PM task inside system after 3.5 days, after 3 days actually. So this is my current day reading, let's say. At 1 PM. Last run count. Usage is per day is, let's say, 1. Okay, you see, we already have. So this is the first job that we are seeing inside system. You can see this is actually scheduled for 3rd of October, after almost 3 days. You can see this job here, the highlighted one. So you can see the third, the cycle is like 1 of 2, 2 of 2, or 3 of 3. So 3 of 3 cycle is on 10th of October. And this is using certain profile. So you can see the other jobs here. That is, another job is, I think this one. This is next one after, this is on 12th. After 3rd, this is on 12th. This is on 26th, sorry. 12th, 21, then we have on 31st. No, then we have on 30th actually. Okay, so system have added, I think, some 5 6 jobs inside system. Okay, so now once we receive the data from the machine, so these dates will change according to, we don't have that simulation inside system yet, but once we have the data from the machine and there is a flow setup required, that will do that all the triggering. Okay, so this is the usage based scheduling. The how the job execution is at same what we do with the time base. Just go to the workstation list and find the job and trigger it. Okay, so another thing we have is, I think, on the asset configuration, we actually specified locations and I think location and coordinates. So these are actually different location inside system. So you can see we have every location has just one machine. Okay, so these are the like so this is the machine, and I think there are how many jobs or how many AM jobs are there, PM jobs are there running due overdue on this particular machine. Once we click from there, it will take you to the workstation page. Okay, so I think this is the end-to-end flow for on the EMS side. Let me know if anyone have questions.
Ajay, I just wanted to tell you, I scheduled a PM job with a new machine and it is there in PM schedule list.
Okay, might be something else.
Okay.
Jonathan Bella, do you have any questions? I think Jonathan is not on the call.
Yeah, he's on another call.
Okay, then I think we are good. If you have any questions, just let us know. We can do another session if required. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.